Tank Dell's going to the Hall of Fame as well.
Sure. Yeah. He was good.
Tank looked really good.
He was not covered for basically the entirety of that game.
That's the Texans' third-round receiver.
Yes.
Third round?
Yes. One of my favorites in the draft.
It was.
It was all about backing up your priors.
That's all we're going to do.
Absolutely. No, he looked really good. Like, genuinely.
Sam Howell looked good, too, for the chat. There you go.
Okay. Genuinely, Tank Dell was basically not covered for that game at all. He ends up with 5 catches for 65 yards and a touchdown. The touchdown was one of these sort of highlight reel plays where it looks incredible because he dropped it initially. Ball comes in, hits him in the hands, he drops it, and then he makes one of those circus, regathers it as he's sliding out of bounds. It's like, oh, look at the concentration. It's like, yeah, well, a better concentration would have just been to catch the ball when it arrived the first time.
I just appreciate that you said that negative, actually added a negative there for Tank. Should have just caught it cleanly.
Right. So I'm always, it's good that he caught the touchdown. It would have been better if he'd simply caught it easily the first time rather than, gone to the trouble of the circus catch at the end of it. But it's still a good thing. But more impressive was if you watched him just run around, the interception, C.J. Stroud's pick, where he stares down, Tank Dell put the corner in an absolute blender and was wide the hell open, other than the fact that a safety undercut it.
You just quoted Mike Renner's tweet.
It was, he was
word
right.
for word.
Really? He said it in a blender?
He did. He said, yeah. Tank Dell put the corner
that guy
in a blender on a 7-stop.
He had him absolutely turned around and nowhere. And then the ball's not underthrown. It's undercut and picked off. He was doing that all night. They were not covering Tank Dell at all. And he was lining up both, predominantly outside. He looks really good. He looks like he did in college. Everyone's scared because he's 5'9", 165 pounds. But what if he's just as good as the Bryce Young discussion? What if he's just as good as he was in college and it doesn't matter that he's tiny?
I'm telling you, that was the story of this draft. Was undersized, really good football players. Deuce Vaughn at running back, Tank Dell at receiver, Bryce Young at quarterback. Some undersized, really good football
Not just
players.
Undersized, but historic outliers. We have basically never seen this before. And that's how good they are. Tank Dell looked amazing.
Tank Dell looked quick, fast, and was always open. And
good hands.
It's in good hands, and it's week 1. Keep feeding him, and I think he can make a year 1 impact.
Yeah, absolutely.
In that receiving core.
No reason he shouldn't.
All right, get some other players ready to talk about. If you haven't heard already, though, it's Smooth Sack Summer. When you're playing in the summer sun, make sure you're escaped from pubes to bum here. So. That's right, this summer. To keep your balls cool. That's right. It is the summer to keep your balls cool.
Yeah.
While still looking hot with Manscaped. The leaders in below-the-waist grooming are making sure we'll all have a ball this summer by giving our pants partners everything they need to stay fresh. Dive headfirst into Smooth Sack Summer by going to manscaped.com for 20% off plus free shipping with our code PFF. Manscaped Performance Package 4.0. It has everything you need to prepare for that summer bod. They've built the ultimate grooming bundle for your summer grooming. Their Lawnmower 4.0 trimmer features a cutting-edge ceramic blade to reduce grooming accidents thanks to their advanced skin-safe technology. The Lawnmower 4.0 also has a 7,000 RPM motor, a new multi-function on-off switch, and it gives you the ability to turn the 4,000K LED spotlight on and off when needed. Did I mention this trim is waterproof as well? Beach, lake, or shower. This razor will devour even the strongest pubes. Manscaped even threw in 2 free gifts to their Performance Package 4.0. It's the Boxers, Manscaped Boxers that is, and the Shed Travel Bag. So you get 20% off plus free shipping with the code PFF at manscaped.com. That's 20% off plus free shipping. Codes PFF at manscaped.com. It's Smooth Sack Summer, boys. Get on or get left behind. Get on board. Get left behind.
You as a UFC fan, did you see the moment, one of the famous sort of post-match moments where Derek Lewis won a fight and then takes his shorts off in the ring? And Joe Rogan cruises up to him and he's like, why did you take your shorts off? And he says, because my balls was hot. I'm just surprised. I understand. Carries on. They've turned that into a Manscaped ad.
Really?
Yeah, Manscaped will stop your balls being hot. So Derek Lewis is now a Manscaped spokesman because of that.
It's genius.
It really is.
Just take your shorts off. You never know what's going to happen.
Uh-huh. That's all right. It's a real thing to live life by. Real mantra.
Just saying. Good things can happen.
When you take your shorts off.
What else do we want to overreact to? React to players?
Oh, the classic, maybe the most impressive, or maybe the most perfect overreaction candidate of the entire week. Jalen Carter, Hall of Famer.
Beautiful.
His first rep in the NFL was an instant win and a hit on the quarterback, almost a sack. And he played 2 snaps.
That's all you need.
Played one more, and then they were like, all right, that's it, done.
Even Sean Payton would say, all right, seen enough.
Right.
Get out of here.
You're right there until you do something good. Okay, you did something good. You can take a seat now.
Eagles took him at 9, traded up to 9.
Yeah.
To get Jalen Carter. And I think he can make an instant impact. I think he's the safest on-field player from a projection. In the draft, it was only the off-field questions for Carter. Yeah, so he looked like a stud on that one play.
That one play.
And that's all that matters.
Against Ben Cleveland, right?
Against Ben Cleveland. Everybody's, it's Ben Cleveland. Can't. Some other news we got to touch on, too. Jadeveon Clowney visiting the Jacksonville Jaguars. Mm-hmm. Should we touch on that now? Or?
I mean, that's a perfect addition to that team of underachieving first-rounders on the defensive line.
That's how you're going to position it, huh?
Yeah.
Josh Allen's been good.
For the moment. Josh Allen has been good, yeah. The rest of them, not so much.
I like it as a depth play. You have to understand who Jadeveon Clowney is. He's always been a much better run defender than pass rusher. And his sack totals have fluctuated through the years, while his pass rush grade has stayed relatively consistent. So he's a good, solid addition. But you can hedge a little bit. He also visited the Ravens. But if the Jags bring him in, Trayvon Walker, who has not lived up to number 1 overall hype through 1 year, for whatever that's worth. Dwayne Smoot's there. Kayvon Chason, absolute underachieving first rounder. And then Josh Allen, who's been solid. Clowney would be the second best player on that in that edge group immediately.
He's also become one of these guys that has like a 90 grade game and then nothing for a while and then a 90 grade game. Like if he has those on command, then you could just bring him in, right? And be like, listen, just mail it in until we reach January.
Give me the 90s.
Yeah. Mail it in until we hit week 17. If we need a win in week 17, that's when you turn it on. If not, wait till the wild card round and then you turn it on then. Like, if you can get it.
That's not how sports works, right?
Maybe it is for Clowney. This
man. He just pick and choose his 90-plus games whenever he wants.
This was the number 1 overall pick.
True.
Maybe he's just like, look, I only need to turn it on for 2-3 games a year. That'll keep the checks rolling in. And outside of that, I just show up. Good enough is good enough, And that's what I'm shooting for, except for those 2-3 games just to make people go, well, maybe I can get the best out of him this year. You don't know. Maybe that's how he treats the whole thing.
Anyway, I think that would be a good move for the Jags. I'm always in favor of late signing Jadeveon Clowney. Always in favor of it, as long as expectations are set. He's not the quote-unquote 10-sack guy, no matter where he lands in sack totals. He's a fine pass rusher, not great, decent football player.
Yeah, I mean, he upgrades that defensive line because of the underachieving of pretty much everybody else on it except Josh Allen. So, therefore, it's fine.
All right, what other priors do you want to absolutely confirm based off of 15 snaps? Will McDonald for the Jets. How about let's talk Jets defensive line.
Yeah, well, every game, you sort of left with the same question. It's like, am I watching the second coming of the Purple People Eaters, or is this just garbage offensive line play at this point in the game? And generally speaking, I think it's probably garbage offensive line play for the most part, but you're like deep into games and the Jets are still rolling out Jermaine Johnson, Will McDonald, and Bryce Huff, guys who were like productive last year, some of them in the NFL.
Bryce Huff in particular.
Yeah, yes. In the regular season. You're like, that's kind of unfair. Most teams do not have an offensive line that can block those guys. Like starting offensive lines would have their hands full with that trio, and yet they're sort of cruising out there deep into the preseason game, still smoking dudes. So, yeah, the Jets' defensive line has looked nasty so far this preseason.
Will McDonald looking very explosive, 15th overall pick. You loved him as an edge defender. We saw a really good spin move from him. We saw him beating tackles to the edge with this burst that we knew existed. Just to rewind a little bit, at Iowa State, they play that 3-3-5, where the defensive end in the 3 on the defensive line there is basically like a glorified defensive tackle. So Will McDonald at 240 pounds was playing like an old school 3-4 defensive end type of role on early downs in particular, where he's got to mix it up in a phone booth against tackles and guards in the run game and, not really have the edge to rush against. When Robert Saleh in the draft Jets draft him. They said, we're going to move you to wide 9, meaning we're going to move you outside, give you that opportunity to actually be a bursty, explosive edge rusher that you are. And that's what they've done. He's played wide 9. He's got room to rush, uses athleticism. And when Quinnen Williams is out there and Carl Lawson and all those dudes, man, they look like they could have a really effective and deep defensive line.
Yeah, I mean, they're starting to look like the Eagles in terms of they can go 7 guys deep with significant pressure in the regular season. I mean, Will McDonald has 6 pressures right now from 27 rushes, which is that, almost 25%, 25% pass rush win rate, which is very, very good. I mean, he looks explosive. He looks fluid in movement. He looks able to win in a variety of different ways. And given the role they're likely to give him, who cares about the run game, I think is how they're going to approach it.
And rightfully so. McDonald, he did disrupt a couple run plays, but he got absolutely wrecked on another one. I don't know who the tight end was, but not only did he get reached, but he also got pancaked about 5 yards down the field. That's why the defense grade is going to be a little bit lower for Will McDonald right there. But if you just make him a designated pass rusher, right, especially in year 1, and he will be effective, and he could probably, if the Jets are actually winning games, even if Will McDonald's not an effective pass rusher, he's probably going to be a 10-sack type of player if they give him those opportunities, if he rushes 350 times.
Right, in the Hall of Fame game, he blew a gap, I think, or lost the edge. So there's probably going to be some bad plays in the run game, but as much as possible, I think they're going to essentially take that off his plate and say, don't worry about it, try and get to the quarterback.